Hi everyone, my name's Leanne Gascoigne and I'm the Training Implementation Team Lead at Osmasa. My role is to work with RTOs, industry leaders and government stakeholders to support the promotion, implementation and monitoring of our training products. And this includes monitoring usage and exploring reasons for low and no enrolment. So I'm pleased to kick off the RII mining consultation with this webinar. So we might just have a look at our agenda, thanks. And today we're going to be looking at providing you with an overview of the project and its scope. We'll look at the outcomes of our analysis and provide you with information about how to access the low and no enrolment data and provide information and feedback. As Moira indicated, we'll be having a dedicated Q&A session after the presentation, and then we'll outline the next steps. So without further ado, we'll get into the overview of the project. So the objective of the project is obviously to identify low and no enrolments across all training packages within Osmasa's remit and undertake consultation to understand the reasons why. 67% of mining industry training products have low or no enrolment. So the insights from consultation will help us to understand the reasons and consider options to increase uptake and identify any components that are no longer required in the system. The project doesn't include updating or changing any of the training products, though recommendations may inform future training product work. Within the scope, we have the 3 training packages, as you can see on the screen: the AUM Automotive Manufacturing, AUR Automotive Retail Service and Repair, and the RII Resources and Infrastructure Industry Mining Components. In terms of deliverables, at the end of the project, we'll provide a report to the Department of Employment and Workplace Relations that includes the outcomes of our analysis and consultations and a range of options for addressing training products with low or no enrolments. Options may include development of appropriate implementation supports for training providers, reviewing and updating training products to reflect current industry requirements, and deleting training products from the National Register where consultation has confirmed that they're no longer required. There may be other options that come out of the consultation, and we'll find those out as we go through. In terms of the timeline, the project commenced in February 2024 with a desktop analysis and development of the consultation strategy. We paused the project during the period June to October 2024 to undertake some important qualification reform design group work. That included the automotive categorisation project, and then we recommenced the project again in November 2024 with a consultation for the automotive industry training packages. That consultation went from November 2024 to the end of January 2025, taking into account that there was the Christmas, New Year close down and holidays, so we left that open for a bit more of an extended period. We're now commencing the mining consultation, and the project is due to be completed and the report submitted to the department at the end of June 2025. Thank you. So the RII Resources and Infrastructure Industry Training Package is shared between 2 Jobs and Skills Councils. The mining components are represented by us, Osmasa, the Mining and Automotive Skills Alliance, and the civil construction components are represented by Build Skills Australia. There are shared training products that are used across mining and civil. Those products are not included in this project. This project only deals with training products that are used exclusively by the mining industry. If you do have feedback about any of the products in the RII Resources and Infrastructure Industry Training Package, You can do so by submitting to the appropriate Jobs and Skills Council. Osmasa has a training product feedback form on our website, and Build Skills Australia have a Make a Case for Change form. So you can go to the appropriate JSC website and complete that form. If you're not sure which JSC to submit to the one that your industry represents. And if it's not right, we'll pass it on and vice versa. We work very collaboratively with Build Skills Australia. So the next slide, please. The outcome of our analysis. So we extracted NCVR VoxStats enrolment data for the mining components within the training package over a 5-year period of 2019 to 2023. The data was consolidated across different versions of training products so that we could get the full trend for each training product over that period of time. So if a qualification was updated with a new code, we connected the data for the two different codes and consolidated that. We analysed that data to identify products with no enrolments over the whole period of 2019 to 2023 and training products with low enrolments based on our definition for this project, which is 50 or fewer enrolments in any 1 year for the period of 2019 to 2023. So the overview of the outcomes of that analysis is that there are 34 qualifications that are mining industry, and of those 10 had low enrolments. That represents 29% of the mining training qualifications. Skill sets, there are 6 skill sets that are mining industry and 3 are low and 3 are no enrolment. So that's 100% of the skill sets are either low or no enrolment. Units of competency, there are 384 units of competency that are used exclusively by the mining industry. There are 68 no enrolment and 199 low enrolment, which represents 267 low or no enrolment units of competency and 69%. Totally, there's 424 components that are mining industry. 283 of those are low or no enrolment, representing 67% of the training package. So these findings indicate that some training products may no longer be relevant to industry needs or meet industry needs, while others might face barriers to delivery by training providers or are just no longer required. Now we're going to go through and look at how we've broken up the data for the purposes of consultation. So because of the large data set that we're looking at, we tried to think about how we could present the data to stakeholders in a way that would make it easier for you to identify the training products that you would like to provide feedback on or that impact you. So we went to the companion volume implementation guide, and that breaks down the industries in the RII training package into industry subsectors, and we've used those to broadly categorise the components. So they are coal mining, extraction or quarrying, drilling, and metalliferous mining. We also created a 5th category, mining industry cross-sector, where we have consolidated all of the units of competency that are used across 2 or more of those 4 industry subsectors. So they are within the mining industry cross-sector. The next series of slides will go through each of those industry sectors and give you a bit of a breakdown of the data. So we'll start off with coal mining. So you can see there on the slide that there are In terms of no enrolment, we're looking at qualifications and skill sets first. There are two skill sets that have got no enrolment for the 5-year period: leading hand coal mining and underground shot firing coal mining. In terms of qualifications, we've got 2 qualifications and 2 skill sets. And to make it easier, we've tried using colour coding. So you can see there that the pink highlights the years where the product has had low enrolment, and the blue indicates no enrolment. Anything white is above that 50 or fewer enrolments in that year. So in other words, by our definition, it would be high enrolment. So the skill set, explosion protection diesel engine systems maintenance, that's an interesting one because it's got 0 or low enrolment, but then a peak in 2021 of 92 enrolments. So that's a bit of an anomaly. And they were all in New South Wales. So it would be interesting to find out if any stakeholders can advise us about what might have driven that sudden peak in enrolments for that particular skill set. The underground coal mine safety skill set is delivered in Queensland only until 2023, and then there was a low number in New South Wales. So again, that's got a bit of a peak in 2020, which would be, again, interesting to see if anyone's got any information about why that might be. If we go now to the units of competency for coal mining, there are 74 units of competency that are either low or no enrolment. 46 low enrolment and 28 no enrolment. Most affected areas are coal mining underground environments with 44 units, and resources and infrastructure environments with 11 units. And plant and equipment environments had 9 units. We go to the next slide for drilling qualifications. There's one skill set that had 0 enrolments. That's the oil and gas offshore rouseabout. And there are 4 qualifications, beg my pardon, with low or no enrolment. So we have the Certificate 4 in Diploma Well Servicing, had a drop-off at 2021, but has picked up with stronger enrolments in 2022 and 2023. The Diploma of Well Service is delivered across Victoria and Queensland, with the majority being in Queensland. And the Advanced Diploma is consistently low, although that's not unusual with higher level qualifications. Next slide shows the drilling units of competency. There are a total of 61 units of competency in the low and no enrolment category, 50 in low and 11 in no enrolment. And that's very consistent. We've got, as I said earlier, much higher number of low enrolment than no enrolment. You can see there that drilling general environments has got the majority of no or low enrolment. Next slide. So with the extraction quarrying, there were no qualifications or skill sets that fit into this category, but we have 7 no enrolment and 7 low enrolment. And they are in the general cross-sector and technical cross-sector. So when you look at the unit coding, the letters that follow the RII indicate the subsector or sub-grouping within the training package. These ones are made up of materials extraction, MEX, the RAI and PRO, which are processing general, STD, which is sampling and testing, and SAM, service and maintenance. So they're the types of units that are within that grouping for the extraction industry. If we move across to metalliferous qualifications and skill sets, there are no zero enrolment in the metalliferous. But if you look at the enrolment pattern for low enrolment for the Certificate 4 in underground metalliferous mining, you can see that there was a large drop-off of enrolments in 2020, and then it picked up again in 2021-22, and then we've got zero enrolments in 2023. So we're looking to find out why, what happened in 2023, and what can we do to support an increased uptake. Again, the enrolments in this qualification are mostly in New South Wales and Queensland. Similarly, enrolment in the skill set underground shot firing metalliferous, dropped off to zero in 2022 and 2023, with most enrolments being in WA, with a small number in New South Wales and Tasmania. So what do these patterns tell us? Metalliferous mining, units of competency. There are 46 units of competency that are low or no enrolment, with 41 being low enrolment and 5 being no enrolment. So significant number of low compared to no enrolments in this area. And it's worth pointing out that we know that within qualifications, there are often large numbers of elective units of competency, of which only a small number are used, and that's probably why we do have a lot of low enrolment units. We go now to the mining cross-sector units of competency. There are quite a few sub-sectors represented within these units of competency, and so it goes over into 2 slides. And you can see that there isn't really, it's fairly, there's a fairly even breakdown, I suppose. Nothing really that stands out as a significantly high number of low enrolments. If we go to the next slide, you'll see the consolidation in terms of numbers is 72 that are cross-sector units, 55 of low, and 17 that are no enrolment. And that's probably an indication of the fact that they're used across sectors. So now that we've reviewed the data, we need to have a look at, what we're trying to get out of the consultation. So we need your input in terms of providing feedback to help us to understand whether these training products still meet industry needs, what barriers there are for training providers to deliver them, and the impact of removing training products if our consultation identifies that they are no enrolment. Are there any unforeseen consequences of removing products that appear to be redundant in the system? Maybe that an RTO is planning to put something on scope. We need to know about that so that we don't inadvertently remove something that you've invested in putting on scope. So your feedback will help us to make the recommendations and ensure that the training remains relevant and effective. So what we're going to do now is take you to have a look at the project website and the information that we've provided to help to support the feedback on the components, and then an example of a survey. So here we've got the consultation page of the project site, and if we scroll down, we can see that there is a link to our consultation strategy, which is just there. And we'll share with you that in the consultation strategy, Appendix 1 is a long list of all of the components identified as low or no enrolment, and they're grouped into each training package. So we start there with AUM, then AUR, and then there'll be RII. You can go to that appendix and download or copy and paste the RII training products. There is a hyperlink that goes to the training product on training.gov.au, so you can have a bit of a look at it. And we've included the enrolment data as well. If you go through that list and identify training products that are relevant to your, if you're an RTO, your scope, and if you're industry, to what you're using, etc. And that will be useful when you come back to our consultation page and have a look at the next bit, which is a searchable table with all of the low or no enrolment training products. And we've got the training product, we've got which survey it's in. So we've got 5 surveys, one for each of those subsectors that we highlighted earlier in the presentation. If you look here and you only have, one product or whatever, you can click on the survey and go straight to that survey and start filling it out. It indicates whether it's low or no, and we can demonstrate if you search on something like drilling, for example, you'll come up with all of the products that have got drilling in the name. You see there we've got some that are in different surveys because drilling's in the name of the product. You can also look at low or no enrolment and see which ones are low, which ones are no, etc. The other option is you can download this table, extract it into Excel, and sort and filter it and add any comments that you would like to. So that's another option rather than using the table in the consultation strategy. So we've tried to provide the information in a range of formats. So once you've identified the training products and which survey or surveys they are in, you go to the feedback tab in the project website and open the appropriate survey. We're going to use the drilling survey as the example for this demonstration. So you select the survey, you'll come in and fill in all the demographic information, your name, position, organisation, etc., and whether or not you represent national or state or territory. And then click on the next tab. And here you'll see that we've formatted the information in the surveys as the qualifications and skill sets first, and we've got a group that's low and a group that's no enrolment, and then the questions. Now, you don't have to answer the questions for every component. Obviously, there'll be different components that impact you, and they're the only ones you need to provide feedback on. We have got the options across the top. So you select the one that is I guess the main reason for low enrolment. So the options are they're servicing a niche industry sector, and there are a number of areas where there's a small industry sector that it's supporting, but that's critical and important, and we need to maintain those, obviously. If there's potentially you've observed that there's decreasing demand, maybe it's a unit of competency that's about outdated technology that's no longer required. Could be that there's alternative pathways. Perhaps there's a different qualification or skill set or unit being used. Is there an issue with the qualification design? is there a need for more support for training providers to deliver the product? Another issue that's impacting is lack of trainers and assessors. So if one of the reasons that you're not able to deliver is that you can't get anyone to deliver the qualifications, let us know. So when it comes to the no enrolment, there are 3 options in terms of response, so that they're not currently required. There's future need. So again, that's if you're going to put it on scope or you're aware that you're going to be delivering it in the future, or industry or alternative use, something like not accredited training, in-house training, OEM training, that sort of thing is being used by industry to address that skill need rather than using the nationally accredited qualification skill set or unit of competency. You can also save, we just need to highlight that you can save the survey if you are disrupted and you need to go away and come back and complete it later. Click on that link, put in your email address, hit the send button, and you'll receive an email in your inbox with a link to come back to the survey and complete it at a later date. We estimate that the survey will take about 10 minutes, but it does depend on how many components you're providing feedback for. So if we go to the next page of the survey, you can see here now we're in the units of competency, and the units of competency are broken down by those unit sector alpha code sections. And that's just to break them up, because in some cases they're quite a long list, and just makes it easier for you to step through and find the units based on their unit sector. Again, the questions are the same for all the low and all of the no enrolments. And again, just complete the questions for the ones that you would like to provide feedback and ignore the others. There is a field at the end of each page there for you to provide comments if you want to add some commentary around why you've selected a particular response. And if we go to the next page, again, more units of competency broken down by those unit sectors. We've got well servicing, no enrolment, for example. Next one. Now we're into the drilling cross-sector technical. So they're specialist technical units that are, yep. And we might just go to the last page and show the completion of the survey. And so in the last page, we've added an upload additional information field. So if you downloaded the list of components from the consultation page, you could always add a column in the Excel spreadsheet and write comments and upload that into this field here, or any other information that you'd like to share with us. And we will contact you if we need to get further information and to understand the feedback that you've provided. And then at the end, you just submit the survey. And you'll get an email and thank you for completing it. If we go back to our PowerPoint slide, okay, we're going to the Q&A. I was just going to say on that PowerPoint slide, there is an email address for you to send any direct feedback to the projects at osmasa.org.au. So you can also do that. Okay, sorry. We'll now go to the Q&A session.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
That was great. I might just get the team to pop the project's email in the chat so that it's just easily accessed. We have one question submitted by Jordan, and the question is, have you identified any reasons why there are such significant fluctuation or peaks?
Not really, apart from looking at the location of delivery. And that's something that if anyone has got any insights, knows what's going on, that would be good, and we'll continue to investigate. We do have some direct engagement to undertake after the closing of the open consultation stage, and so that's an opportunity for us to identify stakeholders to directly engage with, and we might understand some of the reasons for that as well. Thanks.
Great. And I can see that Colin has his hand up, but we have that functionality, the camera and mic functionality switched off. So, Colin, would you be kind enough to post a question, then a Q&A? While we wait for Colin to post that question. The feedback that you just talked about, Leanne, for Jordan, response to Jordan's question, would that come through the survey, or is it best to send an email to projects?
Well, it would depend. If you're filling in the survey and you'd like to provide information about why you think there's been that fluctuation around a particular year, then you can put it in the comments in the survey, or you're welcome to contact us directly. If anyone would like to undertake direct engagement and have an interview with myself, I'm happy to do that, and I encourage you to send an email back to us through the projects at Asmasa email address, and we'll reach out to you and organise to catch up with you during our direct engagement phase.
That's great. I might just get the team to allow Colin to come off mute, if that's okay, Leanne.
Sure. Yep. Go for it.
Let us know. Yeah. Just check. Colin, there you go.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Just a question. We've got a skills background. Just the underlying skills that are predominant with all the units that drives demand, and that demand pushes on to the education that's being taught. How do you derive that the training you're taking or the courses you're taking, the skills are actually in demand at the time? Because that could have effect on enrolment and attendances. Thank you. That's my question.
Sorry, I missed the very beginning of what you asked. Can you repeat that, Colin?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Leanne, with the enrolments where they're decreasing, my question is the underlying skills that are taught in the courses and made available as part of the curriculum. How do you determine if those skills are actually in demand now and are going to continue in demand? Because that would judge whether people are enrolling it, if they're either in demand or not demand. So mine's mine of measuring skill demand if it's relevant. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think that in terms of qualifications, the lost for words now. No, the electives that are chosen generally are the skills that the RTOs have identified are in demand or required. And there are a lot of elective units, I guess, that don't get picked up. And that could be an indication that there isn't demand, or that there's a problem or an issue with the ability to deliver it. And that, I guess, the demand is driven by industry and what they're asking RTOs to deliver. What are the skills? So when we consult and develop the qualifications and skill sets, are getting feedback from industry about what skills are needed, and we create those skill standards to support that and the packaging rules, etc. Yeah, so I guess one of the interpretations of the low enrolment is that the low and no enrolment reflect skills that are not as in demand, or it might not be that they're not in demand. It might be that industry is solving that skill problem with a different solution.
Colin, if you wanted to reach out further to Leanne,
I'm happy to have a catch up. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There's a follow-up comment and question from Jordan Leanne, who says he's also curious about the enrolment through 2021 for some of the quals. Was the decrease reflected in the enrolment data generally for any more highly enrolled courses? And does this appear to align with any of your previous research work around the impacts of COVID, global supply chain issues?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think I have not looked at the higher enrolment data for that comparison, but that is something that I can take on board and have a look at for sure. Look, I think some of the observations I made in the low and no enrolment was that where you would have expected a decline in enrolments, in some cases, the enrolments increased during that period of time.
Great, thanks, Leanne. And Marilyn has asked, she says she's wondering if the skill demand would drive enrolments.
Yes, it should do if there's a higher demand, and that's where, look, we're obviously trying to forecast where the skill demand is and make sure that the training packages are fit for purpose and include those skills are made available to industry and available to package in qualifications and skill sets by RTOs.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Jordan has one last question for you, Leanne. Do you have any enrolment data from the sector within the same period to compare against decreases in enrolments?
Do I have enrolment data for what sectors?
He hasn't specified the sector. Just from the sector within the same period to compare. Jordan, did you want to just clarify which sector is?
Are you talking about other sectors or?
Just wait for Jordan to respond, Leanne.
There we are. Employment data. Okay, not enrolment data. No, we don't. No.
Great. Thanks, Jordan. No, we don't have that.
No.
Not in the scope of the project, is it, Leanne?
No, it's not within the scope of the project, but we certainly do through our workforce development area, they would have employment data which we could look at for sure.
Right. If that's something Jordan's keen on exploring, we could get that sent projects inbox.
Yep.
Comparing employment and enrolment data. That's great. Any other questions? Nothing's coming through. I think that wraps it up. Leanne, well done.
Okay. We might just go to the final slide talking about our next steps. So you'll receive an email after this webinar with a link to the website and where we've just shown you where you can get access to the information and complete the survey. A copy of this or recording of this webinar and the PowerPoint slides will be put on the consultation page of the project as well. So you're welcome to share that with any other stakeholders. If you've got, please share the survey with stakeholders and promote that if you can. And we look forward to receiving feedback and engaging with you throughout the next month. I'd like to thank you all for your time to participate in the webinar, and obviously we encourage you to complete the feedback and the surveys and reach out with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.